Hi, everybody. How are you? It's great to be back here at the Stratosphere Lounge, episode 46, coming to you from Full On Darkness here in Los Angeles, California at, 6 o'clock, a little bit after, and it's blackout with the daylight savings time switch. Oh, man, I don't know. I don't like it. I never did. I like, it just hits so hard, and it just, next thing you know, it's 7 o'clock at night, feels like 11. But that's the way it is. So it's good to see everybody, and it's good to be here. And we got another set of great questions for Stratosphere Lounge episode 46. And another, week of watching the country and everything we love just slowly kind of unwind and deteriorate in front of our very eyes. But I think the only thing you can do in a case like that is just decide whether you're going to get off the train or soldier on. And I think maybe what we'll do next time is we'll do like a theme show on, actual solutions, real things that we can do right today in the present day to kind of slow this stuff down and just stop these horrible control freaks. I have some actual thoughts about that. Before we get into the show, I'm going to say real quick, I'm going to start doing a new set of firewalls. Going to shoot a bunch of them on Monday. I hope to shoot 3 of them. And took a look at the metrics, at the analytics on YouTube, and they're all really saying the same thing. They're all saying something interesting. Excuse me a second. Chair's just a little bit low. That's a little better. What they're saying is that depending on the video, the bulk of people, the large number, 87% of people, watch between 3 and 4 minutes, and then it just falls off after that, just really falls off. So what I'm going to try and do is resist the temptation to do these big, long, highly intricate things. I guess maybe I'll save those for afterburners. But what I do think is that what we probably need to do is do them shorter and quicker and cleaner. And I'm going to make the firewalls. I'm going to switch them around a little bit, make them look a little more like the pitch video on the website with a kind of silver outfit. It just looks really cool and clean. So, going to give those firewalls a brand new look, part of the new BillWhittle.com thing, and hopefully going to shoot. We'll shoot some of them on Tuesday of next week. I hope to have 3 or 4 of them done. Try and break these things down into single ideas that are a little more palatable. I'm going to try and put together a series too with these firewalls. We obviously the first 7 firewalls we did were called What We Believe, and I've been giving a lot of thought to figuring out how to fight the liberal message, the progressive message, how we actually do that, or kind of underground techniques and messaging techniques we can use to really go and start hitting these people back and hit them in where they live. Now, I'll just say one more thing before we get into the questions. I just read a 3-part biography of Winston Churchill, and it's 2-3 pages, 3,000 pages per volume, and I read all 3 volumes. Read all 3 volumes 3 times, and I really felt like I got a really good, strong understanding of this tremendously written set of books by William Manchester called The Last Lion, and they're fantastic. And then finally, after reading it, I decided, it's time for me to read Mein Kampf. I just have to. I've heard it was impenetrable, and it is. It's really difficult. It's not an easy read. He just dictated it. It's the ego. It's the dictation of an egotist surrounded by a psychopath. So it simply is just stream of consciousness stuff. And nevertheless, it's an extremely important thing to read. And the most important thing about reading Mein Kampf is we do such a disservice to ourselves and such a disservice to history by making Adolf Hitler to be a frothing-at-the-mouth maniac. By doing that, we greatly increase the chances of more Adolf Hitlers. The amount of rage and narcissism and vileness and just sheer venality comes through on almost every sentence he writes. But the fact of the matter is, politically, he was an absolute genius. Just an absolute genius in terms of the politics of how people think, how masses of people think, about changing people's minds, about taking an idea and making it work on the streets, and then making it work in the party, then making it work in the state. And I don't suppose I have to say I'm, needless to say, 100% opposed to everything that he stood for. but his mechanism, his understanding of the mechanism of how political parties fight each other is absolutely illuminating and spot on. And one of the things that I think is really important to understand in terms of reading what he understood about politics is something he did very beginning, and he took, he basically, when he was designing the Nazi flag, he looked at all kinds of different colors. The colors of Germany, of Imperial Germany, had been black and white, and he said, black doesn't draw any attention. White is the color of surrender. Blue is very appealing, but it's also a calming thing. We want something that's going to get people excited, something that's going to just leap at them from down the street. But what he really said was, he said, we want to take, they're fighting Marxism, right? The Nazis are fighting Marxism. You got one flavor of socialist at war with the other one. And what he basically said was, we want to steal their flag. We're going to take their color. They have red flags. We're going to have red flags. We're going to take their color because it's the most exciting color. It's the most visually interesting color. But we're going to take their color. That's going to unnerve them. It's going to unnerve them quite a lot. And that idea, I'm going to turn into a firewall on its own. Taking their flag. What does that mean for us? It means really, ultimately, when you get down to what the flag of the liberals is compassion and caring. We need to take their flag. We need to take that color from them. Our flags have to be that color. They have to be the color of concern for people, and they have to be the color of a new philosophy, which is really the old philosophy. There's nothing new. It's not like, Whittleism or anything, or, there is an Obamaism. There's no, it's just fundamental free market principles, but it's got to be something that is in the future. It's got to be something new and something attractive and something coming. It's a worldview, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm just chewing on some of these ideas. They're really important ideas. It's really depressing on some degree to read what Hitler says in Mein Kampf in terms of succeeding, especially succeeding against Marxism, against the collectives, against the kind of people we're fighting today. Because what he basically said was that bourgeois political parties, like the Republican Party, let's say, will always lose to these other people because, number one, they have a dynamic new worldview which they passionately believe in, and it's something that appeals to the popular imagination. But really what he said was these bourgeois political parties that he was facing at the time, the various parties of the Weimar Republic and so on, he said these people don't even have the courage to sign their name to a document. They're never going to win out on a street battle. Hitler understood that he had to have a group of guys that would crack some heads, not to crack other people's heads, but people came to his meeting and would try to disrupt the Nazi meetings. And so he had to have people to defend himself so that they could get the message out. And that's really important. This idea that are you ready to take this message of freedom to the streets? Really, are you going to do it? How willing are you ready to fight for it is really what he said. And he said, if you see people on the streets who are ready to fight and get hurt and die for an idea, then the spectators in the streets and the masses, the large numbers of people that really just go where the enthusiasm is, he said, you really just need to show that you're ready to go and fight and die for this. And if you're not, then people know it. And that gave me a lot to think about. So it's very difficult thing to read Mein Kampf, because on one hand, you have such amazing political insight, and on the other hand, you have such a vile conclusion to it. Centralized power, ruthlessness, brutality. I'm reading it because I need to know what to defend against. But anyway, something that's on my mind and something I'm trying to come up, with a counter proposal for, something in terms of what would the street fight look like to recover these ideas. When I say the street fight, I mean the street fight of ideas. No one's getting their heads clubbed over in meetings anymore. They used to just throw beer mugs in these giant beer cellars. So we got to be prepared to fight these people like we mean it. And I'm tired of getting kicked, in the groin by people while I fight them with Marquis of Queensberry's rules. No one does that. The Marines don't do that. Special Forces guys don't go up there. You want to win this fight for freedom? You prepared to fight for it, or you prepared to get, you're going to prepare to get hurt for it? I don't know. it's something to think about. So anyway, just letting you know that just some of the stuff is percolating upstairs, and we'll hopefully see some of that beginning next week or so. Some of these solutions to this god-awful assault and these evil, evil, evil people. And you can't be evil to fight them, but you gotta fight them like they're fighting you, and it's a difficult damn thing to do. Anyway, moving on here. So let's get